82% of women going into 2023 use pleasure toys. What's going on, young world? It's your guy, Philippe Deshawn, and you are now tuned into the 5th episode of the iNVISILLENNIAL. So check this out. If you have not checked out the previous episodes, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and go check those videos out. We're going to get into pleasure toys, okay? Now, the conversation around pleasure toys is centered around the Twitter poll that I put out, the latest Twitter poll that I put out. Now, of course, if you have not, watched this channel up until this point, all the content is centered around Twitter polls, right? Now, the Twitter polls are influenced by the music that I create. I'm a music producer, songwriter, I'm a musical artist, so that in itself is influenced by, my personal experiences. Okay. We're going to get into a couple of videos because now what I've decided to do is incorporate reaction videos into the content because it just makes for a better discussion. We're going to take a look at two videos. The first video is from another content creator by the name of Real Femme Sapien. Okay, I'm going to put her link in the description. You can go and check her videos out and follow her content. Now, the second video that we're going to get into is from Careshaplease, which is a TV show that features Young Miami, and she recently had Trina on her show, and I'll leave a link to that episode in the description so you can go and check that out. But we're gonna look at a few segments from each video, and we're gonna talk about it.
Machine. So women can get addicted to self-pleasure. Like, that's true. They can lose sensation from the actual toys themselves. But
I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there real quick because I do want to touch on that. This is something that I've always had a concern about. I mean, it's a legitimate concern, you know what I'm saying? Because women, I'm like, do y'all understand that this thing will desensitize you? Y'all using these roses, it's artificial sensation, it's artificial pleasure. When women are using these things, and this is a constant build up to the point to where she's not getting enough of that release. And next thing you know, she's experiencing, feeling desensitized to it. Now, she feels desensitized to this artificial device. There's no way that she can connect with a man and be satisfied in that way. Right? Right. And this is just something that men cannot compete with in and of itself. They just can't. I mean, that little machine is doing things that a human cannot physically and possibly do. There's an agenda behind this, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But let's get back into it and see what else you got to say.
I never see that much with women who have options, women who can go out there and actually go and get a man. So, I mean, that's like, probably the lifestyle of a 3 to 4 kind of.
Okay, so yeah, women do have options, but the one thing that is very noticeable is that, in today's time, women are socially inept. A lot of these women do not know how to socially and emotionally connect with a man. This is just fact, and when you have, these pleasure toys that they're consuming, that they're using, they just don't have the ability to establish any sort of relationship with a man. I mean, from my experiences, my own experiences, women are not what they used to be. There was a time that women, had a sexual prowess that was on par and had them meeting a man at a certain level to where there was a balance. There's no more balance. But on the flip side, you have this self-gratification going on with these women. And I think that it's really disrupting, it's really disrupting women's innate ability, to be a woman and connect with a man. There's an agenda behind this. If you're not familiar with the feminist movement, it started in the mid-1800s. It came to a certain point in the 1920s, early 1900s. And the thing about society is that society itself doesn't necessarily introduce anything new. A lot of things, pretty much everything we experience in society is on a wave. So we have these cyclical sequences that we experience, and a lot of times, a younger generation doesn't know what came before them. They're naive and they're ignorant towards it. So now you have so many impressionable women that are being influenced by this, political and feminist agenda, and based on this political and feminist agenda, it's all about sexual reconditioning and all about social economic reconditioning. Okay, now these sex toys, they're being used to influence women and influence their behavior and their social competence. Okay, now the feminist group wants to do this, to create a social authority, a new social authority. 82% of women going into 2023 use pleasure toys. Now, in combination with the societal influence that's being imposed on women, it's just causing a major disruption. It's just getting to a point to where, it's becoming difficult, to find a situation, that is a healthy situation to get into. There's a lot of toxicity, that's happening right now when it comes to dating, when it comes to love and relationships, so, that's something that we have to take into account, because right now there's an agenda in place to create a new social authority, to bring this equality, between men and women, and there's nothing wrong with equality. Equality is definitely needed, but I just think that the way that it's being sought after and being established is just creating a negative discourse to where, men and women are just losing touch with each other. You know what I'm saying? But men, we're not necessarily changing. You know what I'm saying? We're not so easily influenced. We're so in tune with our innate nature. We instinctively, we stay true to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, there's not too much that can be created for us, on par with what's been created for women. It's not so easy trying to position men in a certain way. So yeah, the focus is on women at this point. But with that said, it's women do have options, but the way you may think these women are exercising the options is not what you think. Because, these women, what you see on the outside, she may be pretty, she may be beautiful, but what's on the inside is more of a concern, is more of an importance. What's on the inside is what she responds to. That's what she reacts to. That's in her subconscious. So don't be fooled by what you see on the outside. So when I say these women are socially inept and there's just a social disruption, a lot of these women just are really confused about who they are, what they want, and it's getting more and more difficult to establish that connection, and in my last episode, I talked about, men and women cannot be platonic friends, so go check that out if you haven't, but that still rings true. It still rings true.
What?
Oh, shit.
Take a shot if you ever got your pussy ate while having a bullet in your butt. I didn't, so I don't take a shot for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So getting your pussy ate with a bullet in your butt.
You know, like the little vibrator, little bullet.
I know, in the butt.
Cause you know how like niggas like to put the thumb, so yeah, have like a little.
Just stick the thumb in there and do it.
See, I'm not sticking my thumb in no ass, yo. Because here's the thing. Once I do that, I know me. I am going to, in a weird way, I know me. What I'm going to do is at some point in time, I'm going to smell my damn thumb. And if I get some damn dookie cake under my nails, I'm going to have to stop the session. And it's over with. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even going to play around with the butt. And then once I do that, I'm probably going to be off for a while. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to just stay clear from that. I don't want to play in the booty with my thumb. Now, here's the thing about the bullet. The bullet used to be the extent of what women used. You know what I'm saying? It could be incorporated into whatever, a man is doing with her. You know what I'm saying? That was the extent of what they used. It didn't really interfere with things. You know what I'm saying? But now we got these super gadgets, man, that are being, marketed and sold to women, that a man just cannot compete with in any way. Like, it's just not possible. It's doing things that just physically cannot be done,
I prefer that. Don't put the bullet. I'm not really a toys girl, kind of honestly. Yeah. I'm not like the toys dude. I'm not the girl that want to have the sex
Yeah.
I'm not. I need the real thing.
Yeah.
I'm not grinding on it like a toy. I mean, if it's a little like butterfly or something, yeah, I've had. But that shit is dangerous. Let me just give my look. Do not kill me, guys. I'm just this is my experience. I'm just saying, when you're a woman and you get addicted to that vibrator thing and that little butterfly, that little cute thing, that da 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 da, you really almost like not need a man.
Yeah.
There it is. Man, I'm telling you, this is what I was just saying earlier. She hit the nail on the head. That's what I'm saying. You can't compete with that as a man. It just ain't gonna happen. And it's dangerous because, like I said before, your body knows the difference. And when it desensitizes a woman, it's a wrap. It's very difficult for her to get that back. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, leading up to the point to where she's desensitized, a man just cannot compete with that. You know what I'm saying? She's going to be put off. And when you put that in combination with what people experience through relationships and through, heartbreak and through other things that may scar them, with the experiences when it comes to love and relationships and just dealing with men, she doesn't want to deal with men because she's afraid that men are going to be on some bullshit and she don't want to fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so. You know what I mean? The niggas do be out there on some bullshit. And then when they had these toys, these pleasure toys to get them off, it's making them socially inept. It's socially disrupting, society to where men and women just are not connecting. It's a lot to it. And like I said, the agenda that's being put in place, by these feminist groups, and the feminist agenda, this is a big part of why a lot of that is being pushed. They know what they're doing, and it's working very, very well.
Makes it hard for a man to please you because a man could never go against that little fast. He could never. That's like 2-3 seconds you're about to have an orgasm. A man can't even move his tongue that fast. And so when they try to, it's like a bunch of wasted time. You need to know how to massage, lick, and suck, okay, on it good. So don't try to think.
And your body knows that. You know what I'm saying? A man, his body knows the touch of a woman. The woman knows the touch of a man. It's there. It's in your DNA, So, like I said, good point.
And that you're comparing with that vibrator, I don't really like that. And for women, it really takes away the pleasure of getting pleased by a man. I'm not really into the toy thing, the butt. Don't stick that in my butt. You can stick your finger or your tongue in it.
And I'm not eating no ass. You would have to highly question my sobriety if you ever catch me, in a situation where I didn't ate a woman ass up. You gotta question my sobriety. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably significantly inebriated at that point if that's what's happening. It's not happening against. Yeah. No.
And that's the end of that.
That's the end of that. All right. Now here we go with the Twitter poll results. I got into, a thought of, the feminist movement, Me Too, and basically the whole theme around what's happening with the disconnect between men and women. Right now there's a narrative that's being pushed about the dysfunction between men and women. It seems as though, patriarchy is this thing that's being attacked. And I kind of had some opposing views on that, but like I said, I'm a person that has a satirical sense of humor. So I got to thinking. I said, so what is it really that is being used as a catalyst, to create this social authority and influence amongst women. And so I put out a poll. Okay, so the poll itself is, what do you think has empowered women in a power relationship or balance of power between men and women? So that would be pleasure toys, which is sex toys. And then we have better careers and more money, right? So 52% say that pleasure toys is what empowers women to be able to deviate from the relationship, between a man and a woman, and these particular roles that men and women are supposed to play. Even though I don't really believe in roles, it is what it is when you're in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? You have different personality types, and you have different temperaments. So it's different circumstances and different nuances and variables that go into making a relationship work. So you got to think about where the disconnect comes in at. How do you make a human being deviate from their innate nature to interact with their counterparts, meaning men and women and vice versa? So in my particular opinion, I think that these pleasure toys, aka sex toys, is what is allowing women to be able to deviate and fall into this theme and behavior that seems to be dysfunctional, in my opinion, in my sight. So I think that's the reason, and not to be too extensive with it, but hey, I believe that men and women equally share a sexual prowess. I believe that men and women equally have an innate desire for each other. And I think that men, we are a lot more in touch with our innate nature. You know what I'm saying? So it's very difficult to get a man to deviate from his innate nature and behave differently than what his instincts and intuition, leads him to act. You know what I'm saying? To act like. So it's a lot more difficult for men. But as far as, what I see out in society from a societal perspective, I don't see where men are actually holding women down. From my experience, I've never been in a work environment or any other environment to where I've actually physically seen men oppressing women. Now, my opinions on women oppressing women is a whole nother story. And I'll get into that in a whole nother video. And I'll be back with another poll to go, to touch base on that. But for now, no, I don't see it. That has not been my experience. You understand? Most of the situations that I've witnessed or experienced, the women have made more money in the job that I was at. They were given the promotions way before men. A lot of the men never even got promotions. They stayed where they was at. And the women managers, they didn't favor the men. They constantly promoted the women. Now, as a man, I didn't give a shit. It was what it was. So from my experience, my personal experience, I highly disagree that patriarchy is a problem in society. I think we have a situation to where, consumerism needs to expand. Thus, we need more consumers. And women are the biggest consumers, way bigger than men. We're not that much of a consumer. We have some things that we get off into, but it is what it is. It doesn't really change too much as far as what men actually consume, money-wise. Women are just highly, attractive consumers, you know. So I think for the most part, you know, women are being positioned in a certain way to fulfill a certain societal role, you know, monetarily per se. So this is something that women don't seem to be picking up on. But to get back to, you know, what we're discussing here is sex toys. Like I said before, you know, if anything is done, you know, to create a disruption and create that new social authority and change the behaviors and the mindset of women, the number one way to do that is to disrupt their innate sexual nature. And it is what it is, you know. And like I said, there'll be more podasodes coming, more content coming that we'll get off into this and other similarities to what's going on, you know. So for the most part, just to recap on the Twitter poll, pleasure toys, 52%. Better careers and more money, 48%. Now, as the story goes, women are being suppressed in the workplace. But apparently, according to this poll, and the 86 people that took a vote, that's not the case. So as this platform continues to grow, continues to expand, we get into a deeper conversation. And like I said, this is nothing to be taken too seriously. It's just to create a general discussion, laugh about some things, discuss some things, because at the end of the day, we're going to do what we do and let the internet tell it. You know, it's all hell breaking loose between men and women, and that's just not the case. Now, you do have a lot of followers, a lot of impressionable people out there that get caught up in social media, and that becomes the Bible to them, so to speak. That's what they follow. That becomes their reality and what they believe, you know. But you have to have a mind of your own, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't. So we'll talk about it some more, but I'll see y'all soon. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and make sure y'all just follow up on the content and follow me on Twitter. And I will have other content coming on other platforms as well. I got new music coming, new singles coming. I do have a couple instrumentals that's out right now that I will add some lyrics to and release a full song in the near future. But until then, all right, man, y'all be easy. Stay safe.